Marfoogle News live in 3, 2. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam McKay Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. We're going to go over some oddly timed stories here. We've got, of course, a ground stop alert issued for Austin Airport due to staffing. Again, we have the government shutdown, which has caused lots of problems and near incidents because of understaffing of the actual flight controllers. And then we have a ground stop alert was issued for the Austin Bergstrom International Airport in Austin, Texas, due to a staffing and a U.S. federal aviation note that came through last night. It says the ground stop was expected to stay in effect until 1:01 GMT to 2:15 GMT on Tuesday, with a medium chance of an extension, the advisory showed. So it was a short time period, which is very, very interesting considering what we're about to tell you here in a second. Before we get started, though, I do want to remind you guys, make sure to go check out Energy. This is one of the best solar generators on the market, and there is a limited batch for the public. They actually have a contract with the U.S. Army, and that is what they mostly focus on. In fact, we have not been able to affiliate with these guys for about a year because they were not selling to the public. So if you do want to get the same generator that is going to be heading up to the Army, reinforced with steel, it has built-in heaters for extreme cold temperatures, and it is completely, just absolutely a tank of a solar generator. Then go over and check it out at marfooglenews.com/energy and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. Let's bring in my co/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So we have interesting timing on all of this. A lot of stuff going on in Texas. But before we get to that, let's talk about the president and his plans to send Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine.
Well, yeah, this Tomahawk story is it's just not going to end until it ends, until we find out if they're going there or not and how they're going to be used. But every day it is used significantly by our president. He brings it up. So he was reveling in the international praise after brokering the peace deal in the Middle East. And global leaders were rallying behind him in support of his efforts. And he then said that he was going to be scheduled to host the Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, at the White House this Friday, so coming this week. Now, the assumption is the news is going to be that he's going to decide at that meeting what is going to happen with the Tomahawks and potentially other equipment that may be sold over to them. But, the Russian economy is teetering on the brink of a once in a 30-year crisis, as they say. That's what's coming out of the Western media. It comes as lip readers spill Trump's 5-word threat to Macron during a tense handshake power struggle. So if you guys saw that was kind of crazy. But, the insiders have told the reporters there that the, president is preparing to supply Ukraine with the Tomahawks. And he is preparing to do that. And he even said, as we reported yesterday, that he was going to call Putin and talk to him about it. And I'm assuming that's because he wants to use it as a negotiating tactic to get him to the table. But I think all signs point to these Tomahawks are headed there. And it'll probably be part of this Friday meeting that's coming up.
So we've talked about why this is a big deal. Putin even said the other day, and many analysts have looked and said, there's no real way for Putin to tell what kind of, weapons are on those Tomahawks. They can actually put nuclear or tactical nuclear weapons on the Tomahawks. So in Russia's eyes, they said, hey, well, if you fire one of those, we don't know if it's a nuke or not. There's no way to tell until it hits. So they may act as if they are and end up responding as if. Now, I'm sure that that's not going to be the case. I'm hoping that's not the case, especially since they know that they're getting these Tomahawks. But, I mean, think about this. If they did a first strike on Russia, what if by they, I don't mean Ukraine, but all of NATO ended up teaming up and doing it under the guise of Ukraine and did a full-fledged, nonstop barrage and took out every target in Russia. Now, that's very, very, very unlikely. But now you're looking at where all of NATO is talking about a first strike from Russia. What do you do if you are, actually telling your leaders and your military leaders that they are planning a first strike? Well, sometimes you plan the first strike. So is that what they're doing? Probably not. But I sure hope that is not anywhere close to where it's going. And then, of course, lots of crazy things are going on in the U.S. Of course, now you have the ground stop. And one thing that is a recurring theme this whole month is that people wonder if this government shutdown is because they're covering up other things. I told you about the theory that people have, the fact that it's very convenient timing that, well, this interstellar object comes by, NASA is shut down. It's very convenient timing that there's enough votes to get certain files to be released that the government is shut down. There's certain things that might be overlooked by, in finances because the government shut down. And then, of course, the ground stoppages and everything that's going on with the FAA. Now they could cover up any kind of air activity and say, oh, we did a ground stop because we're just understaffed. Well, it's very odd. So, Dex, do you want to talk about the U.S. Air Force's nuclear-ready bomber that was spotted over Texas on a secret mission?
Yes, certainly. So the U.S. Air Force nuclear-capable B-52H Stratofortress has been spotted flying over Texas, raising questions about the purpose of the high-profile flight. So the flight tracking data showed the long-range subsonic strategic bomber departed Shreveport, Louisiana, and then went up through Arkansas into Oklahoma, and then was flying over Texas. The U.S. Air Force describes that aircraft as a long-range heavy bomber that can perform a variety of missions, capable of flying at high subsonic speeds and altitudes of up to 50,000 feet. And it's one that is pretty much like the workhorse of dropping, munitions, including nuclear weapons for that matter, too. So the exact purpose of the flight has not been disclosed. And the flight has been traveling over Texas at 26,000 feet and over 554 miles per hour and making a, strange path you can see right there.
And we always wonder the last time that we had, bombers doing these strange drills, obviously there was an operation that ended up happening where, and just last week we had this whole debacle with a bunch of refuelers, like 13 refuelers, these huge Stratofortress, size planes going off into different places. And people thought, man, those are usually used to refuel these long flights. The strikes on Iran's nuclear program were, of course, you had different planes that left and went over. Everybody was spotting them. And then, of course, they said, oh, well, these are heading to a drill. Well, the others ended up heading and doing this strike. So anytime you see these openly, reported spottings, it's pretty strange to say the least. If they're doing just a drill, why is it above Texas? What kind of drill is it? Again, we don't know. But these things are absolutely massive. These are the ones that just keep dropping and dropping and dropping. So, and I don't know if they flew over the areas where there was ground stoppages or during that time, but I think it would be pretty easy when there's nothing flying in the sky to see this thing, not to mention how huge they are. We're going to cover the rest of the news over on Marfoogle TV. There's a lot to go over. A possible coup in Russia. There is, of course, nuclear drills kicking off with NATO. So does this play into what is going on right now with the bombers? And, of course, all of the different sightings of jets across the country. Foogle family members are saying that the Air Force is just going nuts above them in all the metropolitan cities. Black Hawk helicopters flying at night, all sorts of weird stuff. So follow us over on Marfoogle TV. All you have to do to get there is go down to the description below, or if you're watching the replay, just click here. We'll see you guys over on Marfoogle TV in just a few minutes. If you're in the chat, just stay there. You'll be ported over. If you're watching the replay, of course, go down below.